going to talk about protein. Again, this is one that's getting a lot of noise for the right reasons. But I think what we want to think about is how much do we need? Why is it important? And where are we getting it from? Again, because there's a lot of noise and you see the word protein plastered on a plethora of products. That's a lot of P's in one sentence.
Yeah, wow.
Thank you very much.
Platypuses.
Yeah. It can be maybe a bit confusing. Just because a Weetabix product has protein on it or a bar has protein on it, is it a good quality source, etc.? I think what people might associate also protein with is that they have to go to the gym to eat protein. Or, can my nan have protein? Can my mum have protein, etc.? Well,
do you take protein rather than consume protein? It's always been one that Jamie and I laugh at length. It's like, are you on the protein? It's like, what? Just drinking one of the 3 major macronutrients.
And exactly that's it there, is that it's just identifying, look, the macros, the big 3, protein, carbohydrate, and fat. Protein is something that ideally we should look at distributing across the day in terms of getting a nice balanced intake. Often I see people have a bit of a skewed distribution. Evening meal, we can be quite good around chicken, beef, salmon, tofu, etc. Often, again, breakfast and lunch, if it's a bit on the fly, if people are, starting out and just looking at their nutrition overall, trying to get, a good source of quality protein at 3 of your pillar meals per day would be a really good starting point. Protein does way more than build muscle. It helps you feel fuller between meals. So if you're trying to have a really good balanced intake and not snack and not overconsume, protein's really satiating. It's involved in many processes within the body, whether we're looking at enzyme production, whether we're looking at supporting kind of hair, skin, and nails as well. So there's loads of benefits to it, far beyond people just chugging protein shakes and protein bars. And particularly if you're someone like me who's getting closer to 40 and getting older, we don't absorb and digest as much protein as we did when we're younger. So if we want to think about keeping bone strong, keeping muscle mass, or maintaining muscle mass as we get older, we potentially need even more protein the older we get compared to when we were younger.
So for those listening, if we were to give minimum recommendation, those looking to take control of their health as a recommendation, and then those that are a bit more athletically or recreationally focused on training, what amount of protein should people be focusing on? And I guess let's caveat that again with in grams per day, or for those people that might want to track their food, servings per day. So for those 3 categories, which I think covers pretty much everybody that will be listening, how should they consider protein intake?
Even if you didn't want to track it, like if I was having a conversation with a family member, I would get them to look at their hand and look at the palm of your hand, size and thickness. That is roughly a serving, a portion of protein. So that could be chicken, beef, eggs, fish, etc. That on a plate is a really good portion size. It's not exact, but it's a pretty good measure of what you need. And if you can have one of those servings at 3 meals a day, that's probably going to give you between maybe 20 to 40 grams of protein per 3 meals, which is a really, really good starting point. If someone goes to the gym and exercises, then minimum in terms of grams per kilogram of body weight, I would say 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram body weight per day is a good starting point. And if you're thinking about that number, I would always say, well, look at where you are now, look at your 3 meals and which meal maybe doesn't have any protein in it or not enough. That's the meal to start with. The further up the spectrum you go in terms of if you're someone who does a lot of strength training, if you're a bodybuilder, or if you're someone who's dieting, you might want to aim even higher than that. But, let's have a sensible starting point. Let's look at what you currently do. 3 meals a day. Is there protein in every meal? And then we can look at, snacks and supplements to that number.